All right, guys, welcome back. This is
back.
716. My name is Xavier.
Hey, there you go. My name is Adrian.
You say, hey, there you go. Like I've been doing this so many times.
No, I don't know if you guys saw the last episode, but
We started off with me
said,
jumping into it, and I just said, hey, my name is Adrian. Like,
I was so confused. I'm like, I guess I'm Xavier today.
Anyway.
I can't get over
Anyway, let's just move along here.
What is up, guys?
Yes, what is up, guys?
How's everyone doing?
If you guys are new here, I just want to say this is 716.
Yes.
We are a faith-based Christian podcast, and we like to talk about controversial topics. We like to get into relationship things. We like to get into biblical things.
Yeah.
Occasionally, we'll enjoy the little stepping on toes because sometimes we all need to hear it, right? Sometimes
Yep.
we need to hear the truth, and
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes, you know. But if you guys look at the library of videos, you'll see that there are some controversial things that we talk about, and things that might not be controversial, but within the video, we get a little bit on. We unravel certain things without getting into too many details.
We also really like to talk about our experiences. I feel like every episode we really talk about some kind of experience according to like our topic or, whatever it's going through. But everything that we do say, we do like to use scripture to really back up,
always.
What we're saying and why we are saying it. So yeah, I'm glad to be here today.
Yeah, so am I. So in the beginning, right before we dive into the topic, we like to do two different segments. The first segment is what we're thankful for or what we learned this week. As far as mine goes, it was a conversation that we had earlier, and it helped me realize how important it is to have a church you can rely on.
Yeah.
A church that is founded, and it has the foundation built around the biblical passages, built
and
around
God,
Christ,
right?
built around God. Like everything is to the book, everything is to the T. It's right, it's correct.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see such a big community and how important it is to be a part of one like that. We were talking about how, there were moments in our lives that things could have been very different had we been elsewhere.
Yep.
And I'm grateful because, I can say I'm here today because of the leadership that we have in our church.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that, we were both born and raised in church.
Yeah.
But, we no longer go to the churches that we, grew up in. And things have just changed throughout. But, there was definitely a disconnect. I think a big reason for us, like leaving or trying out different churches was just because, we just felt like we wanted to grow closer with God, and there were certain things that were lacking. By no means do we ever think that like every church is perfect.
Oh,
because
by
I
no
think
means, no.
every church has their flaws.
Yeah.
Every church, we talked the whole video about how church failed us. So that's one of our video
Part
points.
1 and 2.
Part 1 and 2. And we talk with the standpoint of experience that we have. So today we were just talking about like how grateful we are for our church.
Yeah.
And how grateful we are to have been able to grow together and be surrounded by amazing people that actually are hungry for God, that do have an interest in, also showing their lifestyle, with God in it.
Yeah.
Not just appearing.
The Bible talks about how you surround yourself with these type of people, and that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to be a Christian, right, walking right with God, it's important to surround yourself with other Christians doing the same exact thing.
It's like step 1
to
really getting things right. And, we don't ever say like just like unfriend everyone, just dub them. Like, we're not saying that either, but it's just your tight circle, man. Just be very careful.
Yeah, it's very important to who you let in like that.
They will influence you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about you?
Well, first I'm going to say that was very beautiful because I agree with that. Mine isn't as deep. I feel like I always have like deep thankful things. I have superficial things that I'm thankful for this week. Number 1, Xavier took me on a date day on Sunday.
Yes.
It was a surprise thing. You know, sometimes
hence
when
the sweater.
I know. Wait, we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
But you know, when you're married, when you've been in a relationship for a while, like sometimes, you know, you get caught up in routine and stuff. So we've definitely been doing this thing of like dating each other again.
Yes. Yeah.
And like
I have tried. I've been
Xavier
attempting to do it more often.
Yes, he has definitely done his part into, you know, taking me out to new places and showing me different things, because at the end of the day, like, you know, it's me and you.
Yeah.
You know, and you want to make sure that your relationship with your spouse is the strongest, you know, obviously besides God. But, you know, at least here it's like I'm with you every day. I see you every day. I sleep with you. So it's like we need to make sure this is right.
Yeah.
So thank you for your effort publicly.
You're welcome,
But so we went out to go to an alpaca farm.
Yes.
And it was so nice because I had no idea. He was just like, go kind of fall, like dress, but like, you know, we'll probably be outdoors. And I'm here like, what could we be doing outdoors? It's kind of freezing. I'm like here really thinking because I like to guess things. It's like, you know, I love problem solving. So it's almost like a drive. I'm here like, what could it be? Process of elimination. But I had no idea. No. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of strange. It's still considered kind of strange to just go to a farm and play with a bunch of alpacas.
Yeah,
first of all, you know, most people don't even realize how many alpacas there are in the United States.
Yes.
Really, it's just a Peruvian animal.
Yes. And the funniest thing is that, you know, alpacas originated in Peru. I'm Peruvian. Xavier's Puerto Rican. I didn't even know that. Like, and I was never even super inclined to like alpacas. Xavier was like, he just kind of had a moment.
I got a nice little cup there.
Literally, if you look at every single episode, he has that cup there on purpose because he wants it to represent him. Yeah. And actually, he has an alpaca made like sweater
from Peru.
We bought
it in Peru.
Yeah, we went to Peru, and he's like, I need to make sure I leave with an alpaca thing, but. Side note, that's like I can go off on a whole tangent, right? So we went out on this date. It was just so awesome, something so different. They were so cute, and it's not something that you normally just do,
right?
You know, and they were just cute. So we did that. We went out to dinner. So I'm thankful really this week for the time we got to spend together. And actually, Saturday I had it off. And we just went to gaming.
Yo, Minecraft.
It's what we call Minecraft season right now.
Yeah. Well, right before Warzone.
Right before Warzone.
Yeah, because
Call of Duty comes out, and that's you drawing yourself in different seasons of games. But right now has been Minecraft, and yeah, we literally spent the whole day gaming. Yeah. It felt like
we woke up in the morning and we
ate
just
breakfast and we were just playing online all day. And that's just like what me and him kind of do to just disconnect from like the stress of real world. And I'm like, I'm just tired. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to this.
It's funny though, because we, you know, I said this on the weekend. I was like, you know, I kind of feel bad for just literally sitting in front of my computer doing nothing, but I owe it to myself. We've been doing something every single day.
Guys, like when I say we have something every single day, it's either work or church or podcast or family things or meeting things. Like there's just always something every single day. Like we don't have days off. Like there is no such thing as a day off. So when I had Saturday off, I'm here like
we just took advantage of that.
I thought he was probably going to take me out on Saturday. And in my head, I'm here like, I just want to stay home in my jammies. And then he was like, you want to stay in? And I'm like, yes.
It worked out perfectly.
And then Sunday we had church. And then we had this whole like day date thing. So, so I'm just grateful for being able to recover.
For me.
For Xavier, for my awesome husband.
Hey.
You know, I'm thankful for him. I'm thankful for, again, just time off. I'm thankful for just this whole weekend. Like,
you're thankful.
I'm just thankful. And that actually, you know, this is kind of like the theme of today is really just being thankful, because we know it's Thanksgiving week, which we're so excited about.
You're kind of jumping the gun there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I just wanted to say it's Thanksgiving week, guys. Like,
yes, but we can't go into that until like before that we have to get into our mugs.
I mean, but we could be thankful for our mugs.
So, our mugshot of the day.
So, anyways.
So, for our mugshot of the day.
Oh, wait.
What?
That reminds me. The other thing I'm thankful for. We had Chick-fil-A today, which goes into our mugshots.
Why? Because you have the lemonade in there?
Because I got the lemonade in here.
So, for those of you who are new here, we like to do mugshot of the day. It's probably just on repeat now for everybody else.
Yeah, everyone's all like, yeah, we get it. It's
you know,
shot.
but we like to showcase our mugs. We love mugs. I love coffee. So what do you have right there?
So mine says sweater weather.
Sweater weather.
And it has
it's
like
got the
plaid
inside.
Yeah. I don't know if you can kind of maybe you can zoom that in, but it's got lemonade in there. And oddly enough, I'm not wearing a sweater, but Xavier's doing that for me.
Yeah, but well, it's a long sleeve. It's fine. And it's
sweater weather.
Sweater weather. Mine is more of a rustic kind of cup. It's more rugged. It fits me well.
Yeah,
it's black and it's got a lot of ridges. I like this cup. It's super simple, but it just makes me want to drink coffee out of it.
It matches you. It looks like something that you went to like a place to actually create it.
Like iPod. Why? Because it's imperfect like this. Like
yeah, but it looks cool. It looks like rugged.
Yeah,
like
ruggedy
like and perfect, and yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I got so into his mug. I'm like, wow, that is beautiful.
Well, all right. So as she already said, you guys clicked on the thumbnail. You saw the title. All of this is about thankfulness. But the title actually no. The title says Smashbrush on it.
Yeah.
And the reason why it says Smashbrush is because we're giving an opportunity to speak about it. Yeah. We never really spoke about. I mean, she's never really had the opportunity to speak on it. I think we've spoken to our friends and families about Smashbrush and how it came to be, but we never actually publicly came out with the full story.
Yeah, so I think I did a video on it a long time ago on my like makeup YouTube channel. Yeah,
like a testimony.
If I'm right, yeah, I did.
I don't remember
do
that.
it. I'm almost sure I did, but I can't remember. If I did, it was a long time ago. But it's something that I feel like, man, it is just something that I hold so close to my heart because it is something that I like live and breathe every single day. And
I do by association.
Yeah. So I don't know. Should I just start up to it?
Yeah,
or
we
do
can
we
start
want to
up.
like set up the theme of how what was going on in our time?
Well, first of all, makeup for her didn't start right away.
No.
Although she's always been interested in it, makeup for her started somewhere in high school, and then it moved into kind of a job thing. Like it was like a hobby, but you happen to be making money off of it.
So for those of you that don't know, I feel like maybe a lot of people know, but I don't know. So I am a bridal makeup artist.
Yes.
And I own my own business, right? We have our own team, we have our own studio and like everything.
Actually, we're in the studio.
We're actually in the studio today. So this is like one of the rooms at the studio that was just, again, another part of our testimony, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have been like, I've always loved makeup. I mean, when me and Xavier went out, we were 14, so I was like just getting into it.
Yes. For me, all I ever saw was like kind of like a cover up.
Yeah.
And then eyeliner.
Yeah.
That's all I ever.
That was
really
basically it. And then I got older and I just like
blew
fell
up.
so into it. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like what was going on around this time? So we're gonna talk about. It's really how Smashbrush came to be, like the actual business part. So we kind of want to set up the context of the time, like what was going on at this time.
Well, how far back are we going? That's what it depends on.
Well, I mean, we had just gotten married.
Yeah, okay. So wow. So Smashbrush didn't really exist when we got married.
Like YouTube did.
It did, right? But you were just doing prom makeup, I think.
I was
in your closet.
I was doing, yeah. It's funny because someone else told me they were like, your closet. That makes no sense. So, when I used to live with my mom before I got married, I had a pretty big like. It wasn't really a walk-in closet. I think they just added like a random small room. And I eventually cleared it out, and I made like a little mini makeup room in there.
Yeah, we like painted it, gave it like a reddish, pinkish tone.
It was supposed to be like hot pink. Like I don't know.
I don't know what that was not close to hot pink, but anyway.
It was the yellow lighting that made it red. But anyways, that was like my starter up studio, and I mainly did proms, events. When people had places to go to, they would come to my house. And I did makeup there. But it was always something that I wanted to do full time. At that time, it didn't seem possible or really feasible because it felt so unstable. And so I was always juggling back and forth. Like, I want to do this, but I also want
You also had your mom in the background making you go to school.
Yes. So,
and then you had Sephora in the background making you want to stay.
Yes. So I worked at Sephora for 4 years. But at this time, I was also going to school to actually major in math because my long-term goal was I was probably going to be a high school math teacher or something in like accounting. Like I wanted something in that math related number region, right? So, growing up in a first generation Hispanic home, there's a lot of high expectations. There's expectations of like, hey, you came to this country, you got to make something out of yourself. Right. And when you come from your country, usually it's like, hey, you're going to go to school, you're going to be a professional, and you're going to do this, like be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever.
Right. But super high expectations.
Super high expectations. For my mom, it was never like being any of those 8-year type of, careers, but she just wanted me to go to school. So I was in Sephora, I was in school, and I think we were engaged.
Yes. I mean, the story of Smashbrush starts to develop more into our marriage. Yeah. It was... because the thing is, you gave up. So in order for us to get married, we had to get paying jobs, like better paying jobs. We didn't really make a lot, like I was barely making over $400 a week. Yeah. And for the most part, I was the only one bringing in majority of the income.
Yeah, because I think I was bringing like $150, $200
from Sephora, but then you got the job at Wells Fargo.
Yes, then I worked at the bank because I'm here like I need something with more stability, with benefits, like all of that. Like I'm a grown up now.
But when she switched over, but when you switched over to Wells Fargo, you kind of gave up. What it was Smashbrush
because
or makeup really.
So at that point, my perspective was I'm gonna go work at the bank. Maybe it can be some stepping stone if I decide to go into accounting and go to school. So that was my mentality. I'm here like I think this is where makeup dies for me. Yeah. And it's just it is what it is. Like it wasn't meant to be. Yeah.
And I knew that you loved it. I mean, we did videos. I edited your first video and everything, and I knew that you loved it. You had a deep growing passion for it. Yeah. So it was kind of sad to let it go, but also we had bills to pay. Yeah. And also we wanted to go to Bora Bora.
Yeah, like there was a lot of there was a lot of things. So, I did the grown up thing.
And you gave up.
And I gave up what felt like a hobby at that time, even though I was getting paid, but it wasn't. It was like maybe I would get like 2 appointments a day, and at that point, I think I was charging like $25 for a face.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was like something super.
Oh my god, $25 for a face. That's like a quarter. Yeah. My God.
That was today's Chick-fil-A dinner.
Yo, word, man. You can't do anything with $25 anymore. No. Not even tank up your car.
I know. So I was really getting paid like nothing, but it was more of like, with this money, I'm going to end up getting more makeup and then I can get better and better. But, it just didn't seem like a reality. And I'm here like, okay, I need to reevaluate my life. I need to figure out like, what am I going to do now? And so, so we got married. I, at that point, completely gave up makeup. Yeah. And we were just trying to build our future together. We got married at 23. So we were engaged when we were 21 years old, super young. Broke, didn't have anything, but even with that, God always provided for us. For real. Every single thing, even because, well, no, I'm not gonna jump the story from there, but like, for us, we were like, man, we just want a wedding where we can invite whoever we want to, but we don't have that much money to be paying like $200 something per plate. that got provided for, like limo, like everything, my dress, like everything just came into perfect place. And we were able to go to our honeymoon in Bora Bora, which was like a huge answered prayer, and we didn't think we could. So it was just like, I don't know, just from the beginning, the way I see it now, like in a big picture, it's like once we decided to make our lives right and we wanted to make our everything good in front of God, I feel like God really opened that way for us.
Yeah.
You know, so then from there, you know, Xavier, he had a job where,
well,
actually, I'm trying to remember the whole story.
Yeah, because, all right, so
this is a couple years ago now.
Disclaimer, this was a long time ago, so we are trying to pick up the pieces here
and
like put it all together. But right around our first year marriage, like I want to say within like 4 or 5 months in.
Before that, I got offered a position. There was a salon that was looking for a makeup artist.
Yeah, but
while I was at Wells Fargo. No, this was before what you're about to say.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I remember a salon reaches out and says, like, hey, we're looking for a makeup artist. And someone had forwarded that message to me because they knew I've always done makeup.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, I, like, left this life, you know? And I remember telling him, like, should I do this? He's all like, yeah, like, go for it. And I'm just all like, but then I have to,
why did I feel like it was afterwards? But
no.
whatever.
And so I'm just all like, I don't really know how I can do this, but okay. So I picked up this part-time job on weekends to work at the salon and do makeup. That's where I really got introduced to bridal. And then I was still working at the bank for like some time.
Yeah. But then a tragic thing happened and I lost my job. She was starting to make something.
Yeah.
But I was the primary, what is that
provider
called? Primary provider.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
the
want to
sole
talk
provider, really,
sole provider,
almost.
if you want to talk tax terms.
Yeah.
You know, but it was tough on us. I mean, we got down to a moment where we even started applying for food stamps.
Yeah.
And listen, it's not, I'm just saying it got tough on us to that point, but I'm not saying whoever's on it, you should be embarrassed about it.
No.
It's just, we got to that point where we were about to do it.
We were about to apply for every government help that we could, because I'm here like...
Because we were struggling. We were looking
it was such
for ways of making money.
It was a paycheck to paycheck.
Ways of putting food on the table. It was tough. It was tough. And I was getting unemployment, but unemployment only gives you a certain amount of what you actually made.
Yeah.
I wasn't making anything from the get. So fast forwarding, you're at the salon, you're still at Wells Fargo, and then right around the times where my unemployment was about to expire.
Yeah, I'm here like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, there's no way I can afford everything by myself.
Yeah,
and that's that I'm working 2 jobs. And
right, because in between that time that I was collecting, I was actually studying for my CDL.
Yes, you were.
And I was more specifically my school bus license.
Yeah.
So right as the time was about to expire for us, I was taking her to work from Wells Fargo, and I happened to see the company of where I work now. And out of curiosity, I was like, you know what? Let me just give them a call. Let me see. Let me just talk to them.
Yeah.
So I give them a call, and they're like, oh, hey, you know, like if you're interested, blah, 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 we'll give you training, this, and that, right? So I'm like, okay, good. You know, it's pretty far from where I live, but I think these are the only people that are willing to give me a shot right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's no coincidence that I saw the bus. So let me just go to this interview and just see what happens. If anything, I come out of a job with some training and then eventually
move on
and get my CDL, whatever, right? So I go over to this company. I get the interview. And as I was applying, just to speed this up, as I was applying for a bus driver position, I come out with a manager position.
Yes.
I don't know how that happened.
And like,
I can't explain it as a human being, as my flesh. But
and your pay went from like what you were expecting to get paid to like
bro,
like big money, right?
Yeah,
and I'm just
at the time, yeah.
Well, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, because now
because this is like almost 7 years ago. But yeah, so at the time I was all like, what? Like they're gonna pay you this? Like that's crazy.
For us, that was like, it's like she could stop working and we would still have so much left over.
Yes. So it was just like such a huge like weight off of our back. And I know he was just all like, yeah, we're going to do this. And so that's the context of what was going on.
Well, when I came back from the interview, I went directly to you. You happened to be at the salon
Okay.
when you were working.
I don't remember what you're about to say.
And I remember in my head, I remember thinking like, you could leave Wells Fargo, but I haven't said anything yet.
Yeah.
So if you want to take on from here.
So from then on, I remember like at this point, like appointments and all of this stuff was starting to really build up into like social media and all of that. So I was getting a lot of inquiries for like bookings, but I didn't have the availability because I was in Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
Are we legally allowed to say Wells Fargo? I think so, right?
I don't see a problem. I'm not advertising their name.
We're not saying anything about them either, but we could. No, I'm kidding.
Anyway, go ahead.
So, yeah. So, long story short, with that, I was basically able to leave the bank and start working on makeup full time at the salon, which was like so awesome because I'm here like, wow, like I'm really doing this. Like this is crazy because you're so used to like getting a paycheck every 2 weeks to now it's like, well, yeah, now it depends on like the salon, like how much traction you bring in and all of that. And so it was just, it was such a big step of faith for me. And I'm here like, I'm going to do this. And, you know, eventually it got to the point where I wanted to do my own thing, right?
Yeah.
I was getting enough emails on my own. And we were actually also moving.
Yeah. Well, no, not yet.
Yeah, we were about to.
What? Did that come before?
Yeah, yeah. Because
this has been a long time. So
I remember that was one of the reasons why I had to quit the salon because my commute wouldn't be good. So I had to quit, and then also.
Yeah, but you quit the bank. You left the bank.
The bank was a long time ago.
All right, go ahead. Move on because I'm losing myself.
Yeah, I mean, this was like 7 years ago, but so basically at that point, like I wanted to do my own thing. I had the capability of like kind of starting my own like bridal makeup business, but it just felt like it's scary. Bride clientele, it's not like they're always consistently coming back because, you know, after they get married, like that's really it. But that's really what I wanted to focus on. And so I remember, I just remember for a long time, I really desired to be able to like have my own business one day. And it was just something that was like lingering on in the back of my head. And so, yeah, so then this is where your company, basically your job gave you this opportunity to switch.
So at this company, at this bus company, I was doing really well. Yeah. So well to the point where the owner of the company, he was like, hey, I like the way you're working. I like who you are. I have a house and I need you to move closer.
Yeah. Because it was like a 40-minute commute.
Yeah, I was commuting.
But during traffic,
one way.
Yeah,
but one way. I mean, but during traffic, it was like an hour
plus.
5.
I still remember one day it snowed and it took you 2 hours to get home.
It was the worst.
I remember that day.
I was taking 78 all the way back home. But yeah, so the owner was like, hey, you know, I would love for you to move closer. I have this house. It's available for rent, and we'll give it to you for this amount. And you could move in right away, as immediately, as long as you want. And it's funny, I had my list of stuff too. I was like, hey, you know, can I have a dog? Can I do
yeah,
this?
Can I do that? Yeah, because we didn't have our dog.
You know, we didn't have Shadow at the time.
Yeah.
And he was just nothing but yeses. You know, he was like, yeah. Just
like, can we fix this?
I just need you to be here already. I need you to move down to your city. And yeah, that was a huge blessing.
Yeah.
You know, but I remember, you know, just doing everything that we were doing, and I just remember seeing so much potential within you.
Yeah.
And I saw how much she liked it, and that's when I was like, you know, like just do everything you need to do, right?
Well, I still remember it like clear as day. I remember that one, I this was kind of like the first thing that needed to happen for me to quit the salon that I was working in, because the commute would have been also like about 40 minutes for something that wasn't reasonable. So all the time I just couldn't travel that. And I remember telling him, I was all like, babe, like, I want to do this. Like, I've written things down. I've made a plan. I'm like, I'm just scared. Yeah. Honestly, I'm scared to not be able to, you know, help provide with anything. I'm scared to, you know, just like, just bring $0 in. Yeah. You know, basically at the end of the day, I'm here like, you know. It was
a scary thought for sure.
I got to the point where I'm like, if I were to bring $0, like in this, I don't know, I guess you could say a meeting that we had, like we were just really like getting down to business. Yeah. We were like,
we were talking about finances.
We were going over finances. I'm like, if I were to bring $0 in, could you handle it? He was all like, yeah, like, he's all like, listen, as far as me, he's all like, go ahead, do what you got to do. But it was me that was really like, just, I can't just like, you know, women, I think we tend to be more on like the safe side. Yeah, like, is it a safe thing? Is it security? You know, is there like, you know, stability? I think that's the biggest thing that we tend to strive for. And I know that everyone does, but guys tend to be a little bit more radical. Like, you guys just kind of,
or you guys take care, like you guys worry.
Yes,
you know?
Yes. So I'm here like, I remember I just remember crying, and I remember being like, cause you know, I was going through other things too, and I was just all like, this is something I really want, but I just kept saying that I'm scared, you know, and I remember we were doing a daily devotional. I remember it was already nighttime. We were about to go to bed soon, and then I'm going to read the Bible verse or the devotional that we were having that day. And I'm about to get emotional.
Because, I can hear it in your voice.
Because it's just something.
Go ahead. Take a minute to breathe.
It's just something that God has always, he's just always come through. All right, I'm going to need you to read this Bible verse.
Go ahead. So what is the verse?
So, before starting our
Go ahead, what's the verse? Let me get that.
It's Isaiah 41:10. So before we started this devotional, I just remember praying, and I was like, God, I need you to speak to me. Like, I have this huge desire in my heart. You know what's going on in my life right now. You know what I'm trying to do. Again, like I said, it wasn't just that. There was so many other things that were at like play, you know? And so I'm like, God, like, just speak to me, if like, you know. And then from there we opened up this I think it was like an app. We were doing like a daily devotional. Yeah. And then this is the first the Bible verse or the devotional that day was talking about fears. And this was the Bible verse.
So in Isaiah 41:10, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
So when I say I felt like God was like there and just speaking to me directly, it was like, man, that penetrated so deeply. Yeah. It was like everything, like, and I just felt the comfort. I felt him. I felt his hand literally sustaining me, and it was almost like, I got you. Yeah. Like, come here. And I'm like, oh my God. And I just remember bawling. And
that was this was the pivoting point.
This was
who you were about to become.
Yes, this was the start of Smashbrush. Yeah. You know, because from that moment, we ended up having to move. Well, not having, but we ended up moving. Yeah. And I ended up quitting the salon, and I had no clients. I had no bookings in line. I had nothing going on. Like, everything was just...
It was complete blank.
All right, here it starts to, like, starting from scratch. Like, let's see what's going to happen. And I remember thinking, like, I'm really doing this. Yeah. And then, then we moved, and I don't know how. Obviously, I mean, I do know how, but
I don't know how. I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm trying to think of how we traced it back, and I can't. Like, it just started happening.
It was just happening. That's all it was. That's literally all I can say.
Yeah.
I went from having 0 bookings in a whole calendar year, because it was January, and it was more like, all right, new start. This is where we get to figure this out. And then I'm here like, I don't have anything, and I'm here like, all right, what am I gonna do? And I just started like practicing on makeup. I started taking pictures. I wasn't even promoting hard. I do
remember you asking like for people to come to kind of like opt up, like they were brides or something like that.
Yeah, so I did do like mock bridal shoots and stuff like that, but it was like at my house, something so simple.
Yeah.
And I was just all like, well, let me just get the chance to practice. Let me take some pictures, and then it is what it is. And man, when I say things blew up from there, like I just started getting bookings, and I still remember my very first booking on my own. Like, you know, I had like a 1-page contract. I'm here like, yeah, like I can come whatever. And it just, you know, everything just came out great. And then from there, God really, like when I say he blessed my business, and when people ask me like, how did you do it? I'm like, I didn't, like, literally God is the one that gave me my business.
The foundation of Smashbrush was that verse.
Yes. So, and it has come through for me. God has come through for me time and time again. Moments when I felt like, is this it again? Like, did I just make a mistake? Like, are we sure? Like, am I going up the right direction? It's just a constant reminder where God's like, so do not fear, for I am with you.
Yeah.
And funny enough, after that, like, bookings just started coming. It was like wedding after wedding after wedding. And funny enough, I remember the year 2020, right? So it was 2019.
2020.
Yes. So it was the year 2019. And it was coming towards the end of the year. And I was looking at like the first like four months of 2020.
Right.
And I remember saying like, I was worried, because I'm like, babe, I don't have any bookings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like really worrying me, because I'm here like this pattern's like really off. Like, I've always been booked out throughout the year, even if it's like 1 or 2 weddings in a month, whatever. At that point, I was just like, this is really weird. I'm like, the rest of the year I'm booked, but I don't have anything for the beginning of next year.
Yeah.
And then again, it was just like, God's telling me, don't fear, because he's with me. I'm like, man, God, I don't know what you're up to, but I'm gonna trust in you. 2020 comes, and no weddings were allowed to happen.
Yeah.
And for the weddings that weren't happening, like, you know, people were asking for like deposits. Like, there was a lot of things going on, and I wouldn't have been able to work anyways.
And it's crazy because, you know, and this is, remember that conversation we had in the car going home about 2020 and 2021?
No.
Okay, so I felt God tell me.
Oh, yes.
So I felt God tell me, and we were driving home, and, you know, however you hear this, take this as whatever, you know, but I felt God tell me, you know, 2020 is going to be a rough year for you. Yeah. And you're telling me that now, and I'm thinking, what, you know, like I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Even then, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. And I remember him saying, you know, 2020 is going to be a rough year. Prepare now. This was 2019. Prepare now.
And you told me this in 2018.
Money. Was it 2018?
2018, you told me this.
No, 2019. No, it was the year before.
Because 2019, you said you need to save up this year.
For the next year.
For 2020. And I'm here like, in my head, I'm here like, okay.
So it was 2019.
Yeah.
Because we need to save up this year for the next year to come. Because I told her, I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but it's just something that I'm just feeling so heavy on.
Yeah, he's all like, my body. He was all like, I feel so uncomfortable with 2020. Like something is up.
Yeah.
He's all like, and this was like the beginning of the year, basically. Yeah. And he was all like, we need to save.
Yeah.
And I'm here like,
of 2019.
2019. Yeah. And, you know, at this point, there had been no issues of like the pandemic or anything that was going to happen.
Nothing. And not even a sign.
No, nothing. Because I know like news came in like towards, like the end of 2019. And I just remember thinking like, okay. And so, we did save.
I mean, yeah. But, and then so 2020 happens. and everything gets shut down.
Yeah.
But in that same thing, I was like, 2020 is going to be bad, but the year after that's going to be better.
Yes.
And that's
last year, I feel like everything just if I thought I always say I feel like every season of my business has been always growth. It's just been growing. It's been progression. And I'm like, man, God, this is great. Like, if I were to stay like stagnant at this point, like, I have nothing to complain about.
Right.
And then God just has a way of like surpassing my expectation and be like, you thought that was it? Like, I actually have this for you.
Yeah.
And then more comes and then more comes. And I'm just like, is this going to stop? Like,
yeah.
Not that I'm like complaining or anything, but it's more like, wow, God, how much more can you wow me? Because I don't know if you guys heard about, or if you guys got to see our past episode of us even getting this studio. I used to have another studio where I paid like no kind of money, but I needed a place. I pray to God. I'm like, God, like, I need to find a place. I don't want to take brides at my house and stuff like that.
And it was literally one closet to another closet because that place was small.
Yeah. No, but that wasn't the point.
No, what I'm saying is like just like it's just the growth, right? So it went from a small thing to a little bit bigger.
Actually, at that point, I was working in people's homes. I didn't have a place.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, so I was praying hard. I was like, God, like, you know what I can afford. Like, I need a studio. And again, everything answered the way I needed to. Was like 5 minutes from my house. It was the best thing ever. Yeah. Lease was up, and either I could renew or change, and I needed somewhere bigger because, like, God blessed us, and, we have more people working with us. We have more work. We have it's just been, we needed space. And so I prayed hard for this place too, and I found another place, and it ended up being a disappointment because it was way too expensive. And I was getting like so like desperate, like, man, what am I going to do? I'm like, you know what? I guess I'm just going to stay where I am, and it is what it is.
But then this place showed up.
And again, I felt it. Do not fear, for I am with you. Don't be dismayed, for I am your God, and I will sustain you.
Yes.
And I will always help you. And I'm just like, okay, God, I don't know what you're up to, but I'm just going to trust in you. And then this place everything's been like, like that.
But even through the struggle, so, and it sucks because, we can only think the way we think because that's just the way we are, right? But, we always expect it to be right then and there.
Yeah.
And it's always, for God, it's always going to, like, for us, it's always like, man, God, your timing is terrible, right?
Yeah.
For us.
But
for him, it's just, and the way it works out, everything is always perfect timing.
Perfect. Like,
although it's going to be, at 11:59, at 59 seconds, and we needed it by midnight, but it doesn't matter, right? God's timing is always perfect.
Yeah. God has just, God has just always been so good. And I don't know, if you're in a moment maybe of like wanting to open up your own business or make a big move, man, God is with you through and through. And as long as you include God into your plans, like, he will always guide you into the right direction. Because there's been moments in my life in this business where I've been like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, am I doing the right decisions? Am I like going towards the right direction? And God has just guided me through and through. He has given me just like, just a small example, like amazing team of artists that work with me. Like, I love them. They're just so talented, so reliable. We all mesh well so nicely. And that was another thing I prayed for. I'm like, God, like, I need to expand. I need to grow a team. But I don't want to do it outside your will. So, like, please send me people that I know are good-hearted, that don't have bad intentions or malicious intentions. And so that just, even in the simplest of things, like, man, when you include God, he will play it out perfectly for you.
Yeah.
So, this week we have Thanksgiving. So it's just one of those things that I will always reflect on. And I'm just like, man, God, like, truly thank you for this business, because I feel like it was literally a gift from God for me.
Yeah, seriously. And, and I don't want people to think that Smashbrush just came and everything was just like all, roses and daisy, perfect, and everything was just flowing, and God just kept blessing after blessing after blessing.
There was moments of doubt.
Yes, there was moments of doubt. I had my moments where I'm doing my thing, right? I'm working. I had to work Sundays when the office was closed. I had to work 13-hour shifts a day. It was a lot to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
It was a lot that I had to do, but I wanted to do it. I believed in it, right?
Yeah.
But there were moments where it was a struggle. There were moments of doubt. There were moments where I thought to myself, like, can we really go through with this? And how much more can I do this without burning myself out?
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how God works, because he's always going to be there, but it all comes down to us.
Yeah. How much
because it comes down to our faith and our works. Yeah. We can't just, oh, God, I need you to bless me, and then he gives you the skill, but you do nothing with it.
Yeah.
God blessed her with the skill, which helped improve. She had media skill. She had the artistry skill. She had the people person skill. So she was able to talk, something that I was rarely ever to do. So right now this podcast, if anything, is a surprise, right?
Yeah.
But, she had an amazing gift, and she used that. She used those skills. She put in that work, and God blessed her for that. It wasn't only just, hey, I'm just going to give you a bunch of appointments and it's going to be all me. No, we have to meet him as well.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we got to make sure that we keep him in the picture.
Yeah.
We can't just
seek God for the benefits.
Right. Right. And it's tough, because it's like, all right, so Thanksgiving is around the corner, and it's all about being thankful. But are you thankful only when the blessing and the provision is there? Or are you thankful even though the provision isn't there, even though you're in a storm, right? Because we had our moments where, God, I don't know if we can make it.
Yeah.
God, I don't know how you're going to do this, but you know what? We're going to praise you anyway.
Man, we've had so many moments like that where I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, but God, like, whatever it is, we give it to you. And that has just been our ongoing, like, marriage lesson. Like, God, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through, but I'm believing in you, and you have the best intentions for me. You have the best plans for my life. Not what I think my life should be. It's the way I know you want it for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, here you go, God, like, because I can't.
Yeah. And we can't just start backing away from God simply because things start getting quiet. I mean, we had our moments, right, where it's just like, yo, like, I feel like God's not really answering. I just feel like where's he at right now, right?
Yeah.
But a perfect example of how we shouldn't be is similar to the story of Moses and the Israelites when the Israelites were taken out of Egypt. Yeah. And you can find this story in Exodus chapter 32, and you'll see it. Simply because Moses went to go talk to God and he was gone for a while, these people started building an idol to worship.
Yeah, they're like,
despite everything that God was giving them.
Yeah.
They had it all. They had the provisions and they had the freedom. They were taken out of Egypt from slavery, and they had the audacity to say that we were better off being enslaved.
I know. That always gets me. I'm like, wow.
But go ahead.
I was just going to say, but a lot of times we are a resemblance of the people of Israel.
Yes, and that's exactly where I was going to go.
How many times has God blessed you? And as soon as he doesn't come through for one thing, that he's actually helping you not fall or trying to have the best intentions for you, we take it as, I'm not trying to point at everyone because I know it's happened to me.
It happens.
I take it as, oh, God, you don't love me. And, all I need is this. You start to question him. All I need is this. If you could just give this to me, my life would be perfect. Yeah. But meanwhile, God's like, no, I am doing this for your protection. I actually love you so much that I don't want you to go down that path, because I know what happens if I do. So I'm actually going to close that door for you.
Right, exactly. And I'm over here, we're just married and stuff like that. We're just trying to get our bills situated. We just got out of our apartment. I lose my job.
Yeah.
And you barely, a majority of our income is disappearing, right?
Yeah.
I could easily freak out, stress out, do whatever I got to do to make ends work. And even if it's not godly, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But instead, it's like, I don't know what you have in plan for me, but I know that I will prevail. I know that you will help me.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's just to back up exactly what it is in 32, but it says, and they said to me, Make us a God who will go before us as for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what happened to him. And this was their reply to why they wanted a God to worship.
Yeah.
You know, this was their reply to, despite him taking me out of Egypt, despite God doing his thing, he's not really showing up right now, so let me go worship another idol.
Yeah, let me just go back to my old lifestyle, to like the last point where I felt comfortable.
Right.
You know, which is going back to your old life.
And it sucks because I know that it happens a lot, right? People get sold into this Christianity where everything is supposed to work out. When little do you know, the devil's going to attack you more because now you're doing something correct. Why do you think he's going to let you move along so swiftly without giving you any problems?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, like I said before, at the end of the day, the devil has to respond to God. The devil has to go to his boss. But God allows these certain things to not only develop us as Christians, but also to see our faithfulness to him, our obedience, our love for him.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I just think of like two things scripture wise, that it's like, you know, God says, like, I never said you wouldn't have troubles, but I said that in spite of them, I will be with you.
That's right.
You know, and, you know, this goes back to our I Don't Understand the Bible podcast episode. Man, when you just fill up your life with scripture and you really start remembering, like, and start reading and applying it to your life, man, wins will come, unemployment will come, loss of jobs, loss of, you know, direction,
right,
doubt, scaredness. But man, when you are found, like, when your foundation is on God, the winds will come.
Yes.
But you have a solid foundation and nothing's going to move you. So I have had my moments of doubt within Smashbrush, right? Where it was like, is this going to work? Is this good? And God has just come through and through. Why? Because I always remembered back, like, man, God, I don't know the answer, but I just know you're saying do not fear because you are with me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to believe that.
Yes. You know, and we can't take an unexpected closed door as a sign of como, like, I don't know how to say it in English, but it's maldición for us.
Oh, as a sign of, like, well, that's like curse.
A curse, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that. Just because it's a closed door doesn't mean necessarily. Sometimes closed doors are blessings.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if your car, let's say you had a car, right? You were paying it, but you're working hard to pay for this car. And, you know, you feel overwhelmed, but you don't know what the future has to hold for you. And suddenly this car gets totaled. And now you're looking at God and saying, well, why me, God? Like this was my car. And now the market is terrible. And I can't find another car. But little do you know, you just have to flip the perspective. And now you're free from those payments because the insurance covered you.
Yep.
And instead you're bitter because a car was totaled, but he took away a stress that you wouldn't be able to handle later in the future. You just don't know that.
Yeah, you just see it.
We're only living in the moment.
Yeah,
we're only living in the moment. But God has his plans. You know, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future.
Yeah.
Come on, we got to take these promises. They're not just written in the Bible just so that way we can read it and be like, sure.
Yeah,
you know, they're promises.
That's he wrote it. It's nice, but I don't think that applies to me. No, it applies to you.
No, these are promises.
God has good plans for you. He has good plans for us.
Yes.
But it's up to us to also move in faith and to declare them into our lives. You know, that's why they're there for, you know.
Yeah. We can't get caught up counting the blessings that we're getting and then kind of forget where God got us to in the, like, we are here today, right?
Yeah.
But if something started to go wrong, we can't just count on only those blessings. We have to look at, well, God got me here.
What else did God do?
Well, God got me here, right? So why am I going to start cursing God, you know, saying bad things about him, saying God doesn't come through for me all of a sudden when God got me here?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's easy to complain. It's easy to just, you know, see as every moment, because if you think about it, it's almost like we throw a tantrum if we don't get it our way.
Yeah.
It's like our way or the highway. God, like, I know the best thing that's supposed to happen for me, but we really don't.
Yeah.
We really don't.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, not sometimes, God definitely wants to bless us, right? He wants to bless us in new levels that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, we were seeing it as like, wow, God, you know, like you were saying, how much more?
Yeah.
Right? And then yet we were prophesied that we're just scratching the surface.
You know, I had that in mind today. And sometimes I forget, but I've had like two different prophets come, and it's been the same thing. It's all like, hey, you haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah.
And I'm just all like, if God were to stop blessing me with anything anymore, I still have nothing to complain of. Like, this would be way more than enough, because at the end of the day, it's like, we're not even worthy.
Yeah.
And God just loves us so much that he just still continues to bless us. So, I just, in this season, I know, like, we always like to reflect back on what we're thankful for, but man, this is something that I am just forever grateful for. Smashbrush is from God.
Yeah.
It came from God. And the reason why it's this far is because of God. And that is something that I will always recognize. Yes, it came from talent and all of that and, whatever you want to call it. But he gave that to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't just because of me. Like, he gave me the vision. He gave me direction. He gave me the talent to do things, So I just, at the end of the day, like, all glory goes to God.
Yeah.
Like, that's why when we found this empty room, it was just our way of like, man, God, you gave me this business and this studio. The least I can do is have a room for you where we will do and spread the message of, of your gospel, of your love, of everything. This studio, like, it just, at the end of the day, it truly is a blessing to even be here today. I mean, you guys saw where we first started.
Yeah.
It was at the house, and I mean, that was good enough for me. And then God just has a way of surpassing my expectations, and he gave us this place. My studio, I basically just finally finished it. And funny enough, it's funny, we were having this conversation. I'm like, babe, I love this studio. This is like my most favorite makeup studio ever. And he's all like, listen, just don't get comfortable.
Yep.
And I'm here like, what do you mean?
And I said that recently too. Yeah. I was like, don't get comfortable because I feel something else coming.
I know, I'm here like, what do you mean? I love it. Like I said, if God were to just stop here, like I would just still be so happy because I'm here like, this is everything.
Yeah. But
God just has a way, and I keep saying this, God really has a way of surpassing my expectations. Yeah. And I don't know what's next. I really don't. What I do know though is that, everything that I do, like, I just want to make sure I'm always honoring him with my business, with my time.
Yeah.
And so, honestly, having this room here is actually beautiful, too, because there have been moments after work where I come in here and I'm just, like, on my knees praying.
Yeah.
Like,
this is a war room.
So this is our podcast room, but this is really, like, our war room, our secret place. Yeah. And it's funny because when Natalie and Brian came last time, Brian was all like, man, this is like that secret place. I'm like, funny enough, it actually is.
Yeah.
And
it's nice to have that.
Yeah.
But where I was going with it before was, it's these blessings that we have, everybody else, we can all be blessed in the same way. Mm-hmm. You want to find success in whatever it is, whether it's a business or your job or school or family, whatever it is, relationship, doesn't matter, right? You want to be blessed that way. But there's a way to get that.
Yeah.
And you have to praise God even though those blessings don't seem to be showing up. Mm-hmm. And, and I really want to reach out to those brothers and sisters that they might feel like they're in the thick of it, right? They're tracking through the mud and times are hard and you just feel like God isn't coming through to you. Thanksgiving is around the corner and you might even say have nothing to be thankful for.
Yeah.
This message is for you guys. It might be a storm right now, but it can't rain forever. As cliche as that sounds, it really can't. To praise God is to show him that you love him no matter what. Don't show him that you only love him when materialistic things come. Or when only he's providing you with provision. Don't be like the Israelites and go worship other gods or worship other idols. Find yourself in other forms of comfort in order for you to satisfy this void that you're trying to fill. Worship your God. He's going to come through for you.
You know what's beautiful? Just a little side note. This was like something that I saw on Instagram. It was like, in your desert, it says, in your desert, God will provide manna.
Yes. Yes.
So I don't know what desert you're going through.
But he's always going to provide.
He's going to provide for you.
And you know, it's funny because I do have that here.
Yeah.
You know, and I have an example of that as well. He's going to provide manna. But let me tell you something. If you try to store that manna and you try to be independent, if you try to store it and you try to say, well, now I can do it on my own, and you stop worshiping God and you start seeking him, and you know,
stop believing in him.
You stop going to church because things are going good for you. Well, guess what? That manna is going to rot.
Yeah.
That blessing's going to go away.
Yeah.
It's not going to stick around because you didn't stick around.
Yeah.
We can't. This isn't a one-sided relationship. We can't be. What is it? What's the word? I have the word here. What's the word? Oh, conditional. We can't be conditional with our praise. We can't be conditional with our love.
Yeah.
Everything that we do has to be genuine, and God knows your heart. So don't try to fake it either.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't try to raise your hand on Sundays and then come back home and do nothing but what it is you're not supposed to be doing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's just not worth it. It's, you know, from someone who has tried to do it on their own, it's not worth the stress. It's not worth the headache of trying to figure it all out on my own. It really isn't. And there's actually a verse found in Psalms 127. It says, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. So if God's not in your plans, you can try to do, you know, be all the success and stuff like that, you know, but it goes in vain.
Yeah.
It goes in vain because God's really not in the middle of that. And a lot of times what happens is, you know, something goes down. It just, you know, I'm not going to say that there aren't successful people out there. There are, but they haven't found their true happiness. They haven't found, like, at the end of the day, like, God is the one that can really fulfill everything that you're looking for.
Right.
From the happiness to the success to, you know, money even.
Yeah.
Like, it can be anything.
Yeah. And so even though Smashbrush might look like, and, you know, I can say it is, Smashbrush for us is flourishing. It's a beautiful business that God has blessed us with.
Yeah.
But like I said before, it's up to us. It's our works. And for her, she has to make sure that she doesn't separate, you know, God from the picture.
Yeah.
She has to make sure that no matter what, she's still faithful to our God. We have to do it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's our business. But her as the one that's really in the thick of it, right? She needs to make sure that this business isn't lukewarm in a sense.
Well, funny enough, too, is that when I first started, actually even up to recent, it got so successful that and I don't mean to like throw it out like, oh my gosh, this business is successful. It's more like, you know, glory to God.
This
you
is
know,
this is our testimony.
But this is our testimony, and that's why, and we're sharing in hopes to help someone out, to help edify, you know, because that's what testimonies work for, you know, to help other people. And so, you know, the business got to a point where it just got so successful that I didn't have time to go to church.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to seek God nor the energy. And so I started backing away slowly. And I
started getting burned out.
And things were just, it was too much. It was too much. And I just remember thinking like, man, God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that the blessing you gave me is the reason why I'm getting further and further away from you. And I'm like, God, I just want to honor you. And if not working Sundays is a way to honor you, that's what I'm going to do. Yep. And so my Sundays have limited down so much, but it's almost to the point where, at least for next year, they're kind of non-existent. Like, I do still have some, but it's like barely, you know?
We ain't open on Sundays. We Chick-fil-A now.
Yeah,
we
Chick-fil-A. And I did it a lot this year too.
Yeah.
You know, where I was like, okay. And
And we're seeing the provision from that.
And guess what? God, you know, any person that might look at me in a business standpoint is like, are you crazy? Like, Sunday is a huge wedding day. How are you just going to cut that day off? But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to honor God with everything, you know, with my time, with my money, with my business, with everything that I have. Because what's the point of it? What's the point of gaining the world and losing your soul?
That's right.
You know, there is just no point of it. And it's almost like, how dare you kind of thing, you know? And I it's just amazing to see God's provision.
Yeah.
And even more so when you honor him, and he knows that. Like, I know we mentioned it too. There's a time for everything. We had a podcast. Man, I love how we can reference so many things of our podcast, but we've tried to build it up that way, you know. But there's a time for everything. So there was that time for building my business, but now it's that time to, like, okay, don't forget your God.
Yeah.
Don't forget God in the middle of your blessings.
Yeah. And you can find that video in Timing Find. Wow.
Timing Find for God.
Finding Time for God.
Yeah.
You know? But to conclude here, guys, I want to leave you guys with one verse. And you can find it in 1 Thessalonians, right? I said that right?
Thessalonians, yeah.
Chapter 5, 16 through 18. Rejoice always, pray continuously, give thanks in all circumstances, bold, underline, cap, everything, right? All circumstances. For this is God's will for you in Jesus Christ.
Yeah, amen.
You know, guys, it's as simple as that. Keep God in the picture, and God will keep you in the picture.
Yeah.
It's the formula to success.
Yeah, like
Smashbrush would be nothing if we decided to just roll with it and kick God out of the picture.
Yep. So, like,
it's so much so we built our prayer room, our podcast room, our studio, all in the studio he blessed us with in the business.
Yeah, you know, like, I have no way of ever repaying God for everything he's done for me. I mean, if we go back to the cross, that's already something I can never repay back. And now, like, everything that he really just gives me is like extra bonus. And I'm just all like, God, I'm like overwhelmed sometimes, because so many times I feel like I'm like, I don't deserve it. Like, I'm not a perfect person, you know, but I try with everything that I can. You know, I try to always be a good example. I try to make sure, like, my life is honoring God. But just naturally we mess up. Sometimes we don't always have the time. And so I'm just all like, God, I truly thank you. And I wanted to share this because, you know, it's just a huge part of who I am. I know I reference all the time, like, I'm a makeup artist, so, like, blah, blah, blah. But I just felt like, you know, we were talking, we never actually got to share our testimony on here. So, you know, I highly encourage you to find something to be thankful for, because there's always someone that's going through something way worse and who would want to be in your position.
Yeah.
You know, so despite the storm, despite everything, like, I promise you, like, it doesn't rain forever, right? There is something more up ahead. And just, you know, build your house on God.
Yeah.
Build it in God.
And come this Thanksgiving, guys, be grateful. Be thankful.
Yeah.
You know, there's, like she said, it could be a lot worse, you know, but even if you're in a bad situation, if you really feel like God just isn't coming through for you, praise him anyway. Yeah. And you'll see how things start to change in your direction.
You break chains. It was like
it's like a new form of love that you can show him.
Our last episode we talked about forgiveness, and me praying for someone
is a method
even though
of breaking.
they hurt me.
Yeah.
It was like it breaks something.
Yeah.
When you pray and you thank God, despite of your storm, you break something.
That's right.
You really do.
So guys, well, that was a nice. It was a little emotional too.
Yeah.
But guys, if you have watched up until this point, we are truly grateful for you.
Yes.
As always, we ask that you comment. You know, let us know how we're doing. Yeah. If there's something that you guys would like for us to talk about, please let us know in the comments.
Yes.
And if it's a simple amen because you agree with what you're saying, throw that in there too.
We like that. The finger snaps.
That's right. The finger snaps. Yeah. And the reason I say this is because YouTube picks it up on the algorithm and they push out the gospel for us and helps God to spread the message as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so without further ado, guys, we'll see you on the next one.
Oh, and also happy Thanksgiving,
and enjoy
everyone.
your Thanksgiving.
Enjoy
Go ahead
it.
and eat.
Don't eat too much. Don't eat too.
No, eat too much. All of it. Eat too much. Eat all of it. But then, you know, afterwards, just, you know,
chill out.
Get on that diet again.
Yeah, all right.
This ain't that season.
I know, right?
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Bye, guys. Okay.
I said have a good night. Well, if it's
maybe it's nighttime.
If it's your morning, have a good morning.